Hi, this is Lori with Time to Be Creative, and I'm going to attempt, at least, to finish up this hub on the toilet paper tube photo album. The last tutorial, we put together the binding for the book, so I'm hoping to cover in this tutorial decorating the front, covering the inside, adding the pages, and then embellishing the pages a little bit so we can finish up on this project. So I have my glue gun plugged in. I've pulled out some embellishments and some stamps that I think I might like to use. I did a lot of pre-work to help the video move along a little more quickly. And so we're just going to go ahead and get started. So this is my chipboard cover. I have my spine, my front cover, and my back cover. But now I need to line this so it looks nice in my book. And so I've gone ahead and cut 2 pieces of paper from the patterned paper I've been using, which I should have the name of it for you. It's by My Mind's Eye, and it is, I think, Sunshine. Yes. Sunshine. Love this paper. Gotta make sure I'm in camera. Let me turn that light off. Maybe that'll be better. Okay, so what I've gone and done for my book is I've cut this, I've left it 6 inches long, and I've cut it, I believe, 2.5 or 2 3/4 wide. And I'm going to tape that down. That's going to overlap on the spine, which is fine. And that's how that's going to look. So I'm just going to use my tape runner. I'm going to tape the edges. You can use any glue you want. I haven't been too successful with a glue stick. It doesn't seem to adhere very well and last very long, and a lot of my items just pop up if I use a glue stick. But you may have a good brand of glue stick that you've discovered that works for you, so go ahead and use it. Now if I get extra tape on the edge, I just kind of push that underneath. That will rub off though, so you don't really have to worry about that too much. Alright, I'm going to try to do this upside down so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to place this where I want it on the edge of my book. I've got plenty of room to work with in the center. I don't have to worry about that so much. I just want to try to get this as straight as I can get it. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and press that down. And then when you add the lining into your book cover, you also have to remember you have additional paper here, so you want to go ahead and gently start to work that like we did with the cover. So that learns where to bend. It's hard not to rush it, but you want to take it slow and just help it bend where it needs to bend. So that's the first half. This half is a little trickier because you want to make sure you've lined it up here so it's not off-centered. And then you go ahead and do the same thing. Press that down. I'm trying to be careful with my burnishing so that I'm not shaking my camera. I have my camera sitting on the same table I work on. And then again, you're going to start to work that seam and start bending that gently so that paper knows where to fold. Okay, and I'm not too worried about this seam because our book's going to go in there, and that will be covered. I inked it. I inked all my edges. I usually ink most of my edges. I like that look. To me, it gives it your work a very finished and really nice look. But you don't have to do that. It's up to you, whatever you like. It's your book. You can do what you prefer. But for me, I really like to ink my edges. But I didn't really need to ink that one because it's going to be covered. Okay, so it's still a little stiff there, but that'll loosen up with time. You just want to be careful that your paper is not going to tear. All right, so next we're going to put in our pages. So you want to make sure they're going in the right direction. My pages have these little cutouts to help with the tabs. And I just want to set that in there. And so I've got my tape on the back of my spine. I used red tape on this book, so it might be hard for you to see the film. I'm just going to lift up that. The tape is clear, but the, let me see where the camera is. Oops, I lost it. Usually they stick to me. The backing of the tape is red. They call it red tape. And it's got a very strong adhesive. So this is going to be the front of my book. So I want my pages to go in this way. And so you can measure and mark your spot, or you can just eyeball it. So once you get that where you want it, you're just going to come in with your bone folder once again and press down those seams, that spine seam. Now you can see this one, I didn't take it apart. I got my page in crooked. But I think once I get the book filled with things, it's not gonna make me crazy. So you can see where I'm off just a little bit. Of course, that has to be my first page. Maybe if I fold that, kind of zhuzh it a little bit, maybe I can put something down here to kind of hide that. Okay, so that's our pages. Now I did make photo mats for in our little pockets. I have these. And I went ahead and pre-cut my paper to fit into my mat. I think they're 2.5 by 3.5. And I cut cardstock paper and then paper that goes with the paper pad. And so then all I did was make my edges. I rounded my corners. Now I'm just putting my tape on the back. And I'm going to just put that on my cardstock. Now you can leave your mats plain. You can use certainly something other than black, or you can put a lighter sheet of paper on here, put some journaling lines, or put another little piece of paper on the back, put some journaling lines, whatever you want. I've pulled out some stickers I think I'm going to put on the back side. And then I punched out with my 1-inch punch, somewhere here in my mess, there they are, 2 little discs that will work as my tabs to help pull that out. And what I like to do is I slip my photo mat into my pocket, put that where I like it to, where I want it to be, and then I always just mark it with a pencil so I know where I want to attach that little pull tab. And I've already cut, like I said, I cut 2 for each mat. So I have back and a front. And I just put some glue. And I put my first one down. I use that as a guide, the pencil mark that I put down, put it where I want, and I flip it over, and then I glue this entire circle, and then line it up with the one I put on the front. Now I did different patterns on the different pages, but you could certainly match them. You could add another dot underneath and maybe put some black underneath there for a contrast. And then, like I said, you could cut out another piece of paper and put a journaling mat. But I just pulled out a few stickers that I think I'm going to just embellish the back of these a little bit. So here I have a little flower with a gem that matches my color of the book. I'm just going to slip that in my pocket. And then on these, I think I'm going to put a little yellow ladybug. I'm trying to stay with the black and yellow theme. So now I have that one. Of course, I don't remember what pocket, which one goes in. We'll see what if that lines up. That looks okay. And I have a little star here I'm going to use on this one. Just to add a little interest. And I think I'm going to go with another ladybug. Okay, so they're the photo mats for our toilet tube holders. Okay. Alright, next I'm going to start to embellish my pages, and hopefully I can remember what I wanted to wear. I think on this first page I just cut out this from the patterned paper, and then I'm going to use this additional piece in here to slide into my pocket. Looks like that might be a little tight, so I'm probably going to have to trim that down, but you get the general idea. And for these, they say that the tape glue doesn't dry completely, so I always like to use a white glue or some kind of a liquid glue if I'm making a pocket. And so I'm just taping the edges of that, and I'm going to press that down. Now you can embellish your pages any way that you like, but my idea is that this will slip in there, but I think I'm going to have to trim that, so I'll do that later. And then I think I was going to put this on the back of that pocket. This is another design that was in with the paper. And then I can slip a journaling piece in this pocket as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on the edges. Now I just cut this out from the paper pack. I inked my edges. If you have a particular theme, if you're making it the book for a graduation gift or a baby shower gift, you would certainly add things that went with your theme. I don't have a theme per se except for the color. I'm doing gold and black. So when that dries, I can come back in and make some kind of a little tag that will just slip in there for me. I think on this one, I'm going to just put that. They call these, call like a little strip of paper a belly band. I'm not sure why. But I'm just going to glue the two edges, and then I'll be able to slip a little tag in there. Like that. Which will be really cute. So I'm going to just glue the ends, leave the center open so I can slip my tag in, and I'm going to offset this one. Make sure if you're working with paper that has some kind of a writing or a pattern, it's going in the right direction. I'm going to ink the edges of my little tag, and I'm just taking an ink pad I like to ink both sides. Only takes a few minutes. And then you can add a little ribbon, a paper clip, a little wire. I'm going to add a little wire to this one. I have this, it's thin, it's easy to bend wire. Just get this at the craft store. It's easy to cut. You can really cut it with a pair of scissors. And I'm just going to bend it and twist it like a kitchen twisty. Now you could add a little gem or a little jewel. And that's that. I think I might like to stamp something down here. I'm not sure if this will fit. Yeah, I have a little stamp, an acrylic stamp that says Delight in the Little Things. These are very inexpensive. A lot of times your craft store will have a special where you can get a whole sheet of these for $2, or they have a dollar bin where you can pick up usually seasonal stamps. Now I've been stamping this book in dark brown, and so I'm going to continue with that. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to go because my page is already in my book, but I'm going to pre-stamp this on a piece of extra paper. Usually the first stamp doesn't turn out so well, so you want to kind of see what you're working with. I think that will look cute. So I'm going to re-ink, and I'm just tapping my ink pad over top of that image. And I'm just going to wipe away. This is just a little acrylic block that the ink pad sticks to. And this I'm going to try to go straight on. I wanted to give it a good press, but sometimes even if it doesn't turn out the same color all the way across, that's okay with me. You see, I think that looks darling. So it didn't take much for us to really make that page come alive. And you don't have to do something on every page, because you can leave some of these pages blank for photos to be added. When I've done other toilet tube books, they've opened this way, and so you don't really see the back too much, but with it opening horizontally, I felt like I wanted to do more with the pages. I think on this one I decided I'm going to just put this little disc. I cut that out with my 2-inch scallop circle. I'm just going to glue the one edge, and then I'm going to use a little foam dot to elevate this, and I want some kind of a little image on there. That's too large. I think I want to put a stamp on there. I have all my stamps in a large D-ring binder. I was watching a YouTube video of Tim Holtz, and he had a D-ring binder that zipped shut with handles on it, which is really great. That's what I need to get. But I have picture pockets. I should just show you. Because once you start picking up little stamps at your craft store for $1 or $2, I don't know if you can see this, you start to get quite a collection. And so I just have these clear photo acrylic pockets where I can slip my stamps in. And when you have a certain project, you can just leaf through and pick out what you want to use. But like I said, that's not my idea. I saw Tim Holtz with his stamps in that. Okay, so I found this little flower stamp I think I'm going to use. Just kind of watching my time. I don't want the video to be too long for you. So I'm going to put this on my little acrylic block. I'm going to quickly just ink that. And stamp it on my little label. And then I'm going to use a little foam dot. You can buy these in packages. They have adhesive on both sides. And then you just peel off this little top. And then you can add your embellishment. Just gives you a little more interest. And I'm going to glue just the one end. And I'm just going to glue that there. And then you could slip in a photograph underneath that once it dries, or another journaling card. Now I have a die cut machine called a Big Kick, which I really enjoy. And you can purchase a lot of different things for that. This is called a Framelit by Spellbinders. And they nest, and you can either emboss or cut. And I am not sure how to work the embossing process. But what I did was I took 2 smaller ones. I think they're still out in the other room. And I put them on my machine and I nestled them like this. And when I ran it through the machine, it cut out and gave me a little frame. So I'm going to just glue 3 sides of that so a photo can be slipped in. Now if you don't have one of these die cutting tools, that's okay. Just cut out a square or a circle and then cut out a smaller section out of the middle. It'll give you the same look. I'm going to just do the 3 sides. My glue is getting a little goopy. This glue is very stringy. I want to make sure I get that bottom so the picture doesn't slip out. And I'm just going to glue that down. So then you'll be able to slip a picture in there. Just something very simple. You could add a button or a little flower. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll add a little flower. Just add a little flower there to brighten up that page. So that's those pages. Now I need to remember what I had planned for these other pages. And I don't see what I had. Well, you get the idea. I'm not gonna... Oh, I know, I had a belly band for one of these pages. Again, I'm just gonna glue the two ends. So you can decorate your pages very elaborately or very simply. Sometimes just a little bit of an embellishment is enough. I'm not going overboard on the cover with this book, but it'll still look very nice. Alright, I'm going to add this little flower to the center of my band here. And then be able to slip a photograph or a journal card in behind that. And then on this page, I thought I would just add a few buttons, one at the top and one at the bottom, that you could, I'm just going to glue the one side so that a photograph can be caught underneath those buttons. So that's why I have my glue gun plugged in. So I'm just going to apply glue to half of that button. I love buttons. I personally don't like to see them with just the holes. I like to see them with some ribbon or some string or something in the holes. So I added some twine to the buttonholes and just glued that and tied them in so that they'll stay. Black twine, there were 3 cords wrapped together and I unwound those so it was thin enough for me to get it into the buttonhole. Again, I'm just going to put glue on the one side of the button and then put that at the bottom of the page. I can get it down before that glue dries. And then hopefully, once that dries with the right size photograph, you'll be able to tuck those underneath the open edge of the button. You can come up with any kind of idea that you might have or try when you're making a book. And I think for the last page what I was going to do is just going to put this little word sign that I found. My Sunshine. That was from a different paper pack. And I love these ink pens. I have 2 of them. I have a large one and then I have this one. It looks like an old fountain pen. And I think I'm just going to stamp that on the bottom of this page. So again, I'm going to take my ink pad. I'm going to use the same brown color that I've been using. And I'm going to do a test run here. Yeah, I think that'll look cute. So I'm going to re-ink. Now I would suggest, I have that on I think a little crooked. I would suggest that you do all your inking before you fill your pages, because now see, this is a little bumpy, a little thick, but I'm going to go for it. Cute. So I have that. I've already inked the edges of my little words there. Should have gotten a little baby wipe out so I could wipe off this glue nozzle. The other thing you want to be careful of is if you do use glue, you don't close the pages of your book before it's dry. So there's that page. So you have plenty of spots to put photos or journaling cards. You could certainly add a pocket in the front and in the back. I'm not going to do that for this particular book. Okay, now for the cover. When we made the cover, I mentioned that I wanted the seam. I had to seam my paper because I was using 8.5 by 11 paper rather than 12 by 12. And I thought I had gotten the seam down the center, but I didn't. So it's right here on the edge. It looks like I've got a really good seal, which is great. But what I want to do is I want to cover that so I don't really see that. And so I cut a sheet of paper, a piece of paper, just like a 1/4 inch smaller. I scored my edges so that it's folded and it fits on there nicely. But yet I still have a little bit of black showing. And it will cover that seam. So I'm going to go ahead and tape, use my tape gun. Tape my edges. And then I'm going to run a piece of tape down the back section as well. Any extra tape will just rub off. It's kind of like, well, I probably shouldn't say this, it's kind of like those glue boogers that you get in the mail with things attached to the mail. It rubs off really nicely. So I'm just going to put that where I want it. And then give that a good press. Press it as well as I can. Come in with my bone folder, press that back down. Now you can decorate this. You could put a name on this. Put some flowers, some jewels. You could punch a hole and add some ribbon. I'm just going to keep it really simple today. So that covers that problem area for me. And then all I did was I took my 2-inch scalloped circle punch and punched out 2 pieces of paper out of the patterned paper that I'm using. And I'm just going to use those here. And I'm going to stamp memories across this plain one. And I'm going to add a flower and a little bumblebee. And that's going to be my cover. And then there would be room here if you wanted to add a name, or say you wanted to put photographs from a certain time period, you could put the date there. But I'm just going to go ahead and stamp this. I've got glue all over myself here because I put some glue down. So this just says memories. Again, I'm going to use my brown ink that I've been using throughout the book. Make sure you go in the right way. And then I'm going to glue these two together. And then I'm just going to add my flower and my little bumblebee. And then once that gets to the way that you like it, you're just going to come in and attach it to your book. I'm going to use my liquid glue. If you use your glue gun or your glue tape, you don't have a lot of wiggle room. Once you put it down, that's where it's going to be. So in some cases, I'm going to just turn this around a minute. You might like to use your liquid glue because that gives you a little bit of freedom and you can move things around. So that's our toilet paper tube book. You can do it in any coloring, any paper that you might like. You can certainly make it as many pages as you like, but you can see with 4 pages, it's a nice size book. If you have any questions or would like to leave me a comment, I would certainly like to hear from you. Tell me what you think about the project. And if you'd like to share your projects, I would love to see what you're working on. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you next time.